stiff arms the crap out of Drake Kirkpatrick right there. Fighting through contact, fighting through offensive line, being a double team, multiple moves stacked into one, just a play of pure domination. This is actual film, this is actual football talk. It's a football show, we're supposed to talk football, not storylines. And you are listening to another edition, the 19th edition of Blewett's Blitz. Today we have 30 plays of Becton. We're looking at more of his vertical sets, more of his pass sets. We will do some run plays, or I will do some run plays. But because a lot of the focus was on his pass sets in terms of like his criticism, both pre and post draft, I wanted to go over them a little bit and see what we got with him in terms of pass protection. Obviously, it's a concern that he didn't take a ton of them, but I would limit that concern a little bit. It's not like when he took them, he was just absolutely dreadful. So 30 plays of Becton. Next show is going to be Cameron Clark. I'm already done with that pretty much. I have to put up a couple more plays on Twitter, and then that's done. And the article will be out as well. Then we're doing James Morgan, which I'm not sure how long that's going to be, depending on the angles I can get. But if I can only get broadcast angles of Morgan, which it looks like will be the case, we'll see. So that's coming. JoRB31 on Twitter. Follow the other guys too. Michael Nani on Twitter, Jets X Factor on Twitter, Robbie Sabo on Twitter, jetsxfactor.com, YouTube Blewett Blitz. We got 1 5-star rating and review from Steven_T16. So we appreciate that. Like I said, once we get to 75, I'll do another random giveaway. I'll probably give away a free year subscription to the site and another t-shirt. And as you can see, I'm wearing one of them today. With the big ticket Becton shirt for the Becton show that I'm doing. So check out the store. I think it's like Jets X Shop or Jet X Shop. Other than that, I think for the rest of the season, we're pretty much wrapped up. Like, well, not wrapped up, but we have the kind of the outline of what's going to happen the rest of the offseason in terms of the shows, because we have Becton today. We have Clark the next show. We have, which Clark is probably going to be on Tuesday. I would think that's my next day I could do it. Then we're going to do Morgan. Then we're getting into the undrafted guys. The shows might be a little bit shorter on the undrafted guys. It might be only 15, 20 plays. Some of them might be 10 plays, but we're going to do I'm going to do a show on the big 5 that everybody's talking about, Guidry, Huff, Jackson, Cager, Campbell. You might like some of these guys, and I'll be brutally honest on the players. Like I said, Greg Dortch last time, I received some backlash because people loved him, and it didn't work out with the Jets because he just didn't have it in his game. I didn't think he was a good player, and I called that out. But people watched returns or punt returns and highlights of his kick returns, whatever it was, and thought he was great, but he really wasn't at all. I thought he was a lazy player. So I'll go into those guys and I'll give my honest assessment. Guys like Lamar Jackson, I would temper your expectations from based on what I've seen so far. Even a guy like Guidry seems like he's just a speed guy, doesn't really have a lot of technique, which there's a lot of players in the NFL with both speed and technique. So we'll see if he makes it. I think the guys that people should really be most excited for is Huff. And then there is that tackle, the tackle that they paid the most money out of any of the guys. Obviously, the more money you get, the more we wanted you. Or the more the Jets wanted you, if they're paying you $85,000 as a tackle, as compared to paying whoever. I don't know exactly what the guys' money, all the guys' money were, but I think George Campbell was like 80 or not 85, like literally like $1,000 or $2,000 or $3,000, whatever it was. So when they're not paying you a lot, it shows that they don't really want you a ton, and they would be fine with letting you walk to another team. But we'll review those guys, and then after that. And maybe with Huff, I'll bring Jamal Westerman back on. We'll see if he wants to do that. Maybe. After that, we're gonna have Fant. Well, no order. It all comes to votes. Fant, Desir, Van Roten, Peanut, Anuwasar, however the hell you say that. I'm gonna be doing who else? Quincy Wilson. Sorry. Frank Gore, Joe Flacco, and then if they sign another guy, whether it be a Logan Ryan or whoever, we'll obviously do that as well. We'll do a mailbag. We'll do a top 25 players on the team. I do that with Kyle Smith every time. It's fun to discuss your top 25. So before that, If you want to, rank your top 25 and see how it compares to mine and Kyle's, that's always a fun show, fun discussion for sure. We'll do a 55-man roster prediction, and that's something else I was thinking about that some people have been talking about on like YouTube or whatever. I'm thinking about doing a call-in show, whether that be on Zoom where people can call in. You don't have to show your face if you don't want to. You can just call in and just be the little phone symbol and talk. I might do a YouTube live stream where I think you can call into that as well, but you can like chat below with other people who are watching. I might try that out. It's not going to be often I would do that because it's more about film, but if I could do that maybe once a month or something like that, maybe I'll look into doing that. But I'm definitely going to do some type of call-in show or YouTube live stream, something like that. So if you're interested in that, you just shoot me an email, Joe.Blewett at jetsxfactor.com, BLEWETT. Or you can tweet me, message me, do whatever. But that's something I'm definitely thinking about, because the mailbags are fun, but it's a little bit more fun to discuss over the phone about what people are thinking, because then you can kind of, have a discussion. That's what the phone call is. It's hard to do that in a mailbag. So going into Becton, I'm just going to read off. So if you want the full other review where you're going to get all the strengths and weaknesses, either go to the other article if you are a subscriber, or go to the last Becton show. Just literally type in Blewett Blitz Becton, and you'll see the one that I did 2 months ago or whatever it was, before the Jets even drafted him. So I just wanted to point out, and the things I wrote in the article about some things that kind of stood out to me even more in the first review that I might not have noticed without the all 22 reps, because in this review I do have a lot. I think all of them are all 22 reps, or coach's film, whatever you want to call it. So I just want to give out an updated list, to point out some areas of emphasis in both the pass and the run game. Strengths, again, this is not the full list. Small steps in pass pro, balance in pass pro, uses length well in pass pro, stays relatively square in pass game, plays with good leverage in pass pro, which is surprising for his height. Hands typically land inside. Ultra rare movement skills and fluidity for size. The weaknesses I noticed more where his hands landing high in pass pro, which it is hard. It's something that he's going to have to really think about consistently, is landing his hands lower, because he's so high up. He's a tendency to shoot high in the shoulder, and it will deflect off the shoulder and then go off over the shoulder. So that's something I noticed. Needs to alternate punches more, needs to take advantage of strength and hands more in pass pro, needs to defeat arms more consistently in pass pro, needs to work through hands more in run game, something I noticed. Needs to better position himself in run game, hand placement in run game. So I'm kind of like, people are to the point on Becton where they're saying, okay, great in the run game, complete unknown in the pass game. I'm kind of in between both of those, where I think he's okay. I think he's good in the run game. He's not elite in the run game. He definitely has some things to work on. There's some things that worked on guys in college that are not going to work necessarily at the NFL level. So, I'm sorry, I'm trying to pull up this play while I'm talking. So there's some things that he's going to have to work on in the run game that I will be showing, and I showed it in the last episode as well. So watch out for that. And then, or I don't know what the hell I'm saying. Good in the run game, not elite, is what I'm trying to say. There's some things he needs to work on. In the pass game, he is decent for sure. He just needs more experience with that as well. So first play out of 30, we're just going to run through him. So there's one thing that he tends to do. I don't know if it's the offensive line coach or whoever it may be. At Louisville, they're running a lead zone right here again. I'm going to try not to fast forward and rewind. It's something you have to consciously think about not doing, because I know it hurts people's eyes when you rewind and do all that stuff. But the one thing I don't love about his game, I think needs to change, is with that outside foot, he really tends to take like that zero step where he's not really covering any ground. He's not really doing anything. Now, if the guy is tighter to you, the zero step is okay because it lets you assess while not getting too far outside. Let's say if you were running an inside zone. But if you're if they are trying to run outside zone right here, which it could be inside or outside, they're probably going to let this guy define himself, and then you're going to have 83 block this play side backer right here. So, but the one thing about his steps are, like I said, with that outside foot, he tends to not cover any ground, which makes his inside foot cover a lot more ground. You see how big that inside step is? So when a guy is outside and he's taking that big step towards him, one, it's not going to allow for quick change of direction. You see how he's literally out of the air right here with his feet. So he's not going to allow for quick change of direction. So you want if you're trying to move outside a little bit, I'd rather see more of like an on step where you're going to take this foot and gain ground laterally and vertically, and then split your crotch with this foot and kick him out if he wants to get kicked out. If he wants to dive inside, then let him dive inside and take him inside. But you don't want to be out of control right there with your feet. So too big of a step. He gets his face crossed right there. Now, the next issue I have with this play is, okay, listen, you got beat inside. There's a fullback leading the running back. The fullback is most likely going to pick him up. If he doesn't, then he's going to be able to bounce this outside. So don't worry about it. It happened. I want to see a quicker adjustment here. So he beat you. What's the point of looking back? And listen, there's gonna be a lot of good back end plays, but I'm going to be fair in my assessment of guys. I'm not just going to breeze over the bad plays, because at this point, yeah, you got beat. Your feet were your first step was a 0 step. It shouldn't have been. And your second step was too big. You got your face crossed. It happens. But now what I want to see him do is adjust. So pick up that mic backer. Either pick up, if the will right here, or the mic, or let me see actually the formation. Okay, sorry. The Sam or the mic. If there's no tight end, you're gonna go fullback or running back. That's the strong side. So since there's a fullback on that side, there's no tight end. He could be like a Y flex, but I'm not gonna consider him. I want to see him move up to that Sam at this point, and then listen. Now you block that Sam. The D end is blocked, and it comes in more of like a power zone, and now he just has to beat the mic. Or if you think this guy's going too far outside, get your hips square, climb up to the mic, and now he just has to beat the Sam. And that's what you're really trying to do with all run plays. Obviously, in a perfect world, you get everybody blocked and it's a clear lane. Most coaches think, okay, if I can get my running back in a hole with one guy, the running back should be able to beat one guy, and then it's a big run. So I don't like how he's looking back right here and doesn't really adjust. Now he does end up getting to the second level and getting hands on, but and the running back's able to squirt through that those guys right there, but it was a little bit too slow for me. So I like to see that be a little bit quicker in terms of his kind of reaction and awareness and just knowing how to play that overall right there. So next play, we're going to see, I think this is an ISO play. Oops. The updated zoom, it's going to screw me up a little bit. It's not a huge update, but it's a little bit different with the button layout, so it's going to screw me up. All right, so they're running, looks like they're running like a bend back ISO or bent ISO, whatever you want to call it. So he really just wants to kick him out or seal him to the backside, that defensive end for Becton. Again, there are some issues in the run game that I have with him. I don't like how his feet hop right here. You see the hop, and I always talk about you really don't want to leave your feet in any scenario. You're not really leaving your feet unless you're pulling off like one of those crazy club rips or swipe moves that Aaron Donald does, which is okay, even though it shouldn't necessarily work. Some swims you can leave your feet if you have to get over a guy really quickly, but you better watch your armpit. Obviously, if you're a receiver, corner, jumping up for a ball, that's the obvious type scenarios that I'm not necessarily talking about. But offensive lineman, defensive lineman, you really rarely want to leave your feet. Skip pull, more in space, you can do it, but not right here. So I don't like that he's hopping. And the main issue I have with this is not even necessarily the hop. I would like to see him take a more consistent angle, because if you're trying to seal this guy on the backside, and the run is for this A gap right here, away from Becton, then all you really want to do is climb vertically, get your hips square, and kick this guy out or seal him to the backside. You don't want to work at a horizontal level, letting him scrape over the top of you. So he needs to fix his angle right here. I would like to see him work his hips more upfield instead of see how he works laterally. The guy gets hands on, arm over, and now he's almost in on the play. Now he doesn't get on the play, but he easily could have if this linebacker was to come downhill and squeeze the run. Now he's to cut backside, and now the linebacker or the D end is here. Now, yeah, there's another linebacker in there, but again, if you can make the play a running back one-on-one with a guy in the hole, then that's what you ideally want. Ideally you want nobody to beat, but it's just not really super realistic because the quarterback is not really blocking. But that's why the zone option, all that stuff was invented. So again, two horizontal, one on the C, cover the play side with its hips. Now listen, all the plays are not going to be bad, but it's the first plays I saw. So all right, vertical sets. We're gonna get into some of those. Again, got to be fair. There's gonna be some bad plays. There's gonna be some good plays. But overall, I think that based on what I watched, I would be more encouraged with the vertical sets than before, and hearing about his vertical sets and how much work he needs on them. I think that a lot of that talk came from the lack of vertical sets, not what he did in his vertical sets necessarily. And I'm saying, for a guy who's 6'7", 360, I think he wants to play at 355, which 6'7", 355 is still huge, but he's gonna get even more athletic, which would be ridiculous. But for a guy that big, he's going to have some leniency in terms of his technique, where he might not need perfect leverage or to play a pass set perfectly, whether it be framing the rusher or a perfect feed or whatever like that, because he has the size to make up for that. He doesn't have 32-inch arms. He has 35-inch arms or 34 and something inch arms. He's 6'7", so his body covers a lot of areas. So that's a benefit of being as big as he is. And usually guys that are as big as he is can't move like he does. So in terms of offensive line prospects, he's a physical specimen. You don't really see a lot. If he hits his ceiling, said it before the Jets drafted him, I think he needs a lot of work in some areas, but he could be the best offensive lineman out of this class, just based on his size. Like, Wirfs is a great athlete, but Becton's a great athlete and is a massive, so Wills is underrated too. His athletic ability to get talked about a lot more if he wasn't in this class. So vertical set right here from Becton. And again, for a guy who is as big as he is, I think it's a pretty smooth pass set. He's not really leaning too hard onto his toes. He has short, choppy steps, which is good. You don't want steps that are too big. Again, not allowing for quick change of direction. He stays pretty square to his guy. I would probably like to see a little bit less of him bowing this out a little bit, just to protect against the inside gap. But the benefit, and once I watch it, I'm realizing it now, is they're sliding in their gap protection to the left. So he has the ability to be able to cover against the outside a little bit more because he knows he has the right guard inside of him. So I'm going to retract that statement. This guy's on an island. They're all sliding. And there's a difference between slide protection, gap protection. Gap protection, you could slide in gap protection, but you're still taking the guys into the gaps, where true slide protection is man blocking. So man, whatever it may be. So this is they're shuffling or sliding in gap protection, but no, there's a difference between slide and actual gap protection. So he picks up the edge again. Good base, good balance. He's pretty low. Uses his length as that defender comes into the contact window, catches him in the chest. Continues to run up the arc with him. Now, I'm not sure if he feels his hand. I'm not necessarily sure. It could be a combination of both. If he feels that hand coming, or if he's reaching a little bit too much for contact, so he pulls his arms away because he doesn't want to get too top heavy. Regardless, whatever the situation is, it's good in either way. Whether that be him disengaging because the defender is too far away, regain your balance, then shoot again, or if it's because of the arm, or if it's because of a combination of both. Like I said, regardless, it's good. He pulls his hands away. The defender was banking on that contact to kind of maintain his balance. Becton pulls his arms away, shoots again. Now he might be leaning a little bit into that shot, but the guy's already off balance, so it's not something that I'm going to criticize him too much for, but I think he does reach for it a little too bit right there. But he gets his hands on and is able to just continue to run the edge rusher up the arc. So good pass set for sure from Becton on that one. Again, minor improvements can be made for sure on every play. Myself and Marcus Coleman talked about it last show. You can make improvements on pretty much every single play from every single player. Let's see this next one. Another pass set. The one thing I do like about him is his drag hand. He throws out this drag hand just to prevent anything from coming to the B gap quickly. I like that his eyes are checking the inside. It looks like it's either checking this D tackle or the linebacker. It looks at first to be he's checking that D tackle. The D tackle doesn't come into that B gap. He drops into a vertical set again. Good balance. His feet aren't too big, or his steps aren't too big. He's not on his toes. He has a good base. He has good balance right here. Now, my one criticism is that his left hand looks to be shooting high. Again, he does shoot high, a little bit too much. The edge rusher does deflect the hand. You can see that the hands come together right there, patty cake. So now it's really, left arm of the rusher versus right arm of Becton. Becton is able to land it. Looks like it could be. It's either top of the shoulder pad or under the armpit. I don't know which it is, just because I obviously can't see right here. But he is able to obviously torque him outside. You see that power really generating through those hips up into his arm. Right there, that punches him outside, disengages, gets his hands back inside, runs with them. I'll play it in full speed. Again, drag hand's good. The eyes are good. The feet are good. The base is good. The hand might shoot a little bit high, but it's not terrible. Right hand lands, torques him outside, disengages because he doesn't want to lean, then re-engages and runs him up the arc. Good play. For sure, good play. Again, it's not like when he did pass sets, he was absolutely dreadful. That's not the case. He just didn't do it as much as you'd necessarily like to see, because you do see some inexperience come up in stunts and things like that I will show. I think I have at least one stunt where his eyes aren't continually scanning like they should be. Let's see here. Okay, so this is one of my issues with him in the run game. Now, he does make a lot of flashy plays, and I'll show them. Again, I don't like the footwork right there. You see how that left foot is, again, taking like one of those zero steps where it's not really doing much of anything. And then watch how big that step from the inside foot is. You really do not want steps that big, especially within that contact window or when you're expecting quick contact. Again, if you're pulling and you have to skip pull, square pull, shuffle pull, whatever pull it is, open pull, yes, you can take bigger steps because you're trying to cover ground. But when you're trying to cover ground and there's a guy inside, you have to be a little bit more disciplined with your feet. So I don't love that. You can see the left hand lands pretty high again. It's on the top of the shoulder pad. It's not really generating a lot of force. Again, there's things you can criticize on every play, but he is able to get that right hand on. Clearly torques him outside, raw power. He's a beast. Will he be able to move defensive ends in NFL like that consistently? No. Will he? Sometimes, yes. Especially if he cleans up his technique. If he has shorter, choppier steps, lands that left hand. Whether it be under the armpit or even just on the front of the shoulder pad, because you're not generating him back if you're on top, like maybe a little bit, but not much. So he's able to torque him. My issue with this play now is he has a tendency to just torque guys outside and disengage, where I really want to see him run through this punch. So get your hands on and like climb that tree, like they say, get your hands on, and you can torque him outside, but maintain grip with him and climb that tree, work off your insteps. And it looks like you're almost trying to freaking bring your crotch into their crotch or bring your crotch into, their leg, whatever it might be. But just like I talked about with Mims blocking, you want to grab them, get them close, and then climb that tree, as they say. But he has a tendency to get guys, throw them away, and doesn't run through his hands. So here you see him throw this guy away. Great. It looks great. But now the linebacker is able to have a second shot at getting on the play. Now, yeah, the running back, so they're running like a read zone split right here. And the running back has to cut back, and now the linebacker is able to run and get on the tackle. Now, was the running back getting tackled anyway? Yes. Process versus results. So I want to see him run through his hands right here. Again, looks flashy, but he allows the guy to get back in on the play. Ideally, the running back doesn't have to cut back, but he does. And let's say, if the center was able to block back on that guy and drive him a little bit more and have a little bit more control, whatever the situation may be. If there wasn't other defenders, maybe now he gets tackled by Becton's guy. Now it's Becton's fault. Now it was partially his fault because he did, let a guy get in. But just using an example, of where maybe the running back could have went for a big gain right here, but because Becton tried to throw the guy instead of really blocking him, it led to the guy he was blocking get in on the play. So next play, hops. Okay, like I said, going to be fair. A lot of things he has to work on. I think now that he's working with Duke Manyweather, again, being one of the highest touted offensive line guru type guys out there, works with guys like I think Travis Frederick and Zach Martin and whoever else and blah 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 blah. I think it's definitely Zach Martin or Travis Frederick, one of those guys. But he is considered a really good guy. And I also think, listen, a lot of people I talked about on Scott's podcast a couple of weeks ago. I'm not going to get into the full topic, but Frank Pollock was a really highly regarded offensive line coach. You can't come into a situation in 1 year and change everybody's mindset on the offensive line. If you're coaching a bunch of veterans who've been coached for 5, 6, 7, 8 years, and you think it's gonna be that quick to change those guys and make them a good offensive line? Like, you don't just get guys and they're good offensive linemen because you have a good offensive line coach. Like, they have to be willing to watch the film, and to be willing to change. You have to be willing to work on their technique. There's a lot of people who can change their technique in practice, but once shit starts hitting the fan in the game, they revert back to your old game. So would I blame him if the line continues to be bad with the young guys and they don't develop correctly? Yes, but he was coaching guys like Jonathan Harrison, Beecham, Shell, all these guys who learned bad technique throughout their career, college, previous offensive line coach, whatever it may be, or maybe they're just not talented, but you can't expect the offensive line coach to come into a bad offensive line, just make them good. Like, that's not how it works. So give the guy another couple of years. He's a highly regarded offensive line coach, so I don't have as much worries about that. So I have faith with Pollock. With a guy like Becton. Now, you could bring up Chuma Doga. Yeah, Chuma Doga, he was terrible at left tackle. He was actually not terrible at right tackle. He was okay. And he's a third round pick 2 years ago. People develop. You're not going to get a third round tackle who's just going to start and dominate the league right away. But Doga, when he's playing right tackle, looked like he had some promise. So I think it's going to be an interesting battle between him and Fant, most likely on that right side. I get wanting to move Becton to the left side, but listen, he's a left tackle. Keep him at left tackle. Let him take his bumps at left tackle. It's not. I don't get the whole, like, the left tackle, right tackle thing. I get that left tackle is a little bit more important because you're protecting the blind side. The right tackles tend to go against the better guys because a lot of the guys rush off of that left side of the defense, the right side of the offensive formation. So I don't want to, Becton to move to the right side and move to the left. Like, I rather just keep him on the left and then let Fant and Adoga fight it out for the right. Adoga's better at right than he is left. Fant's probably better at left than he is right. But listen, if you want a job, get better at right. And if he plays right tackle and continues to play right tackle or right tackle like he did left tackle towards the end of 2019 season, talking about George Fant, he might be a decent right tackle. Like I said, he progressed a lot. We'll watch his film. I got like too many plays of him though. I think I got like 60 plays. I'm either going to do 2 shows or minimize that to like 40, 45, 50. But I don't know if people want to watch 60, 65 plays of Fant. You might, but and I'm going to warn you, that first half an hour of that show is going to be absolutely brutal because he was terrible in 2018. Again, here, similar issue as we talked about before. So they're running another zone split. Becton, if any, and this is not outside zone. This is definitely like an inside zone split. So he really wants to kick this guy out. He's not even trying to get outside leverage right here. But again, the footwork isn't good. Covers a little bit more ground with that left foot, but look how big that inside foot is. And when I say that, I'm not saying how big his foot is. Like, he's a size 16. I mean to say his steps. That's just how I kind of refer to it at times. So he hops, gets his face crossed. And now the running back, yeah, you know what? He gets outside. Great job by the running back, but it's not a good play for Becton. So again, what you want to see is him climb vertically and then get out, cover that inside gap. If he were to, well, these guys don't do a great job either, but that's not what I'm worried about. I'm worried about Becton. I want to see him climb, whether that be, again, with another on step, near step, whatever you want to call it. I want to see him climb up to this guy and then out, not over then up. You don't want to go over then up when you want the inside. You want to go over then up if you want the outside, but that's not the case right here. So he needs to fix his feet a little bit right there for sure. Let's see the next one, two-handed punch. All right. Apparently, me maximizing the screen like this makes it better video quality. I don't know if that's true. I'm gonna watch back and see. I never maximized the screen for both myself and you guys when I'm watching this because I thought it was big enough, but apparently it makes it cleaner. So we'll see. Again, pretty good pass set. Good balance, short choppy steps. He might be leaning a little bit on his toes right here. I would say maybe just a little bit, but and he might be opening his hips up a little bit too soon. So again, I'm not sure what the running back's job is right here. I'm not sure if he's just watching that linebacker or not. If the running back is filling this B gap, then he has a little bit of more room to open his hips up like that. If not, then I would watch it for sure. So I'm just going to throw that out there. But you don't want to open up your hips too early because now if the guy, plants hard outside, cross chop, and then can knife inside and beat you inside. So you really want to protect the inside gap first before the outside because the outside, they're still going to have to turn and run around the arc where if you go through the B gap, you're right in the quarterback's face. That's why interior rushers, if they're elite, are more effective than outside rushers, in my opinion. So guys like Aaron Donald are just crazy. So I would say he's leaning a little bit on his toes, but I still think he has relatively good balance, short, choppy steps. He might be able to be a little bit lower in his kick slide, but again, overall, it's still pretty positive. Times his punch well, lands the guy in the chest. Now, the thing with two-handed punches from anywhere on the field, it locks your hips, so you have to be really careful with them. If your hands get defeated here, you're pretty much screwed. So I'm just gonna throw that out there. But if it lands and it works, it works. So times it well. You can see as he goes to throw that punch, he hops back into his anchor a little bit, drops his hips. He wants to get under the guy, and his hat is underneath the outside linebacker DN's hat. Call him a defensive end. Doesn't really matter. Stand up end, 4-point end, 3-point end, stand up backer. That's why I call him edge or emails because just because a D end is standing up doesn't make him an outside linebacker necessarily. So I don't get too. That's stupid stuff to worry about in my opinion. So length throws up here. Nice leverage as he hops back. Literally lifts the guy off in the air. So strength right there. And then the quarterback, he does scramble, so it's gonna be hard for him to know where the quarterback is and to maintain contact with him as he runs upfield. So good play by Becton though. Again, little improvements. Opening up his hips maybe a hair too early. Leaning on his toes a little bit too much. Want to watch a two-handed punch, but if it works, it works. But overall, I'm still grading that out as a positive play for Mekhi Becton. Power zone. All right. Let's see this next one. Again, I'll maximize. Hopefully it's doing something. All right. Obviously, I don't have to tell you he's a left tackle. If he was a left tackle and right tackle and switching all the time, I would tell you. So a lot of people watching this play might say, oh, well, he let the D end crash inside. That's a bad play for him. That's designed. It's like a lead play, but instead of Becton blocking this D end and the running back or the fullback, H back, whatever you want to call him, I'm calling a fullback here, blocks the play side backer. That would be the lead zone, but because he's bypassing that D end, and that the fullback is blocking the D end, I call that's a power zone to me. That's how I identify that play. So power zone, Becton bypasses him. Good angle to the second level. Stays pretty square. I want to watch this in full speed though. Sorry for rewinding. Yeah, control. You see that he's control. He's not running too fast. He's not coming too uncontrolled, or he's not coming uncontrolled in second level. He's maintaining a good speed, but he's also not going to try to just absolutely blow this guy up, which is great. That's a good play. I like the hand placement. Might be a little bit too high, but it's okay. He lands his hands on him and drives him back, 5 yards. Obviously, he gets his hands on right here and literally throws him back 3 yards, and then gets his hands on again. Completely takes him out of the play. So good angle by Becton, good footwork data around that guy. That's a good play. Again, it's not a bad play from Becton. It's a power zone that was designed. That's the problem with a lot of people watching film who don't know what they're watching. They're say, oh, that's a bad play by Becton. It's literally designed. Um, this play. Oh, okay. This is ridiculous. So I'm gonna hit it. I'm gonna hit him with a negative for this, even though I love it. Like I love the mindset. This is both a negative and a positive. I'm talking about him right here. I'll describe the play a little bit better than after this, but love that he's destroying the guy out of bounds. But I hate it at the same time because the ref is standing right there. The guy is clearly out of bounds and giving up on the play, and he rocks him. That's a 15-yard penalty, and it's most likely shutting down your drive. I'm not sure what the down and distance was. Let's see. Second and 9, second and 10. So now it's second and 25. You don't want that. I love the mindset, but you really, really got to be careful with that. So I'll play that in full speed because he absolutely destroys him after I show the technique. So he's taking bigger steps here. They're aiming for the A gap, like another. I don't know why the defense is playing. So this has to be at the end of a half or something like that. I'm going to assume this is at the end of a half. I should have. I don't know if the film showed the halftime and stuff like that, but obviously they're dropping back into a soft 3. So they're going to just take yardage and probably try to get the next play out of bounds. I'm going to assume and get a field goal. But Becton wants to kick out that edge. He's going on a combo with the inside guy. So yeah, he has big steps here, but it's in a different scenario. So he has big steps because he wants to protect the outside. He has an inside guy. So if he is to cross his face, he hits the inside. So there's different scenarios, like I'm saying, where big steps are allowed. Big steps are allowed in this play. Gets hands on, torques him. Again, that natural core power that he has is absurd, and the strength in his upper body, lower body, core, everything it's really strong. So looks like his left hand lands into the neck area, and the right hand lands either whether it be, like I said, into the armpit or in the shoulder. Probably the armpit based on how this guy comes up like that. Yeah, I'm gonna say the armpit. Torques him all the way to the outside. The physical mindset, so I love that. So I love him torquing him outside, getting hands on again, and even running them down right here and kind of just bumping them outside, like bumping them, talking shit. I'm fine with that. So I love the secondary push, staying with the play. Love the mindset, like I said, of absolutely rocking that guy, but that should be a 15-yard penalty. I have no idea how it was not a penalty. Again, yeah, it looks like he gets under the armpit, and look how strong this freaking guy is. He doesn't really have any help He doesn't have any help from the guard, and he literally lifts this guy off his feet for a split second, and just continues to drive him out of the play. Like that's again, I'm gonna play this in full speed from the beginning. So just appreciate his power. Again, has to be careful. Absolutely rocking this guy out of bounds, but it didn't get called, so I love it. But in the NFL, it's gonna get called 9 out of 10 times. Look how far he's out of bounds, and he rocks him. So good and bad from Becton. Overall, good. Just watch that penalty. All right, next play 10 of 30. All right, I'll play that in full speed again. He's definitely a beast, man. But again, there could be some improvements. I'm gonna watch this play to see exactly what they could be. Again, with the feet, this zero step, I really want to see that eliminated. You see how that foot creates no movement, that inside step, and look how big that other step is where his feet are crossing, and now he's off balance. If a DN sees this in NFL, they're gonna shoot into his chest. Like they might have outside technique, so he takes big steps, and then shoot into his chest. And even though he's huge, it's gonna be hard for him to recover to a DN in his chest with his feet crossed and leaning. So I want to see again different footwork. I don't love that really dramatic, whatever you want to call it, inside step. Now, good job landing his right hand onto the shoulder pad and just torquing this guy, 5 yards onto his ass. So I love that part. I love the strength. I love the hand placement of the inside hand right there, and then running him down and jumping on him. Like I said, and I'll say it again in the future, when you're getting thrown to your face and then a 360-pound guy is jumping on you, it's going to make you think twice about wanting to go up against him for sure. It's just, there's no way it doesn't. But in the NFL, it could be a little bit different. He gets caught in the chest right there. Another play. I literally just put Becton toss guys. Again, you have to love the mindset. You could tell what Joe Douglas is trying to do with bringing in, and you're going to see two back-to-back offensive line shows with the mindsets that him and Clark have. I really do think Clark is going to be a guard, whether that be left guard, whether that be day one, probably not, because there's no rookie mini camp, there's no training, like there's none of these things now. It seems like the Jets are going to go back to camp and stuff in July, so he's less time to develop. He has to transition to a new position, so maybe he doesn't start year one, maybe he starts mid season, but I would love, like I said, I think he's definitely going to be a guard, right guard, left guard, whatever. I would love, though, for him to be a left guard and have him and Becton next to each other. They're going to be running behind them all the time with Le'Veon Bell. Even if Clark starts with bad technique, the power and the nastiness those guys have together as a duo. Imagine those guys on a combo block. It's gonna be fun to watch. So we'll see what happens. We'll see if he starts, and then maybe they cut Winters and they keep Van Roten at right guard, because I think it's like a 3-year contract, but it's like it's really a 1-year contract on guaranteed money. Ideally, what happens is Becton is your left tackle, Clark's your left guard. You have Fant or Doga step up and just be a decent right tackle. That's fine. Like, you could survive with a decent right tackle, and then next year, whether it be through free agency, second round pick, third round pick, you get another guard, have him compete with Winters and Van Roten or Lewis or whoever it may be, and then they take over. But I'm hopeful for the line. It's definitely going in the right direction. It's not a good line yet. It might be an average line, which an average line from last year is a big upgrade. So there's another zero step right there from him. Less dramatic inside step. Again, pretty similar as last play. He's able to land the left hand, it looks like on the elbow or maybe in the armpit, and the right hand, it looks like it lands on the shoulder, torques him outside, again, to his ass. And then, like, the mindset here, you gotta love it. It's not like he just falls on this guy. You see he loads up a little bit, gets his hands in, and literally goes to throw him to the ground. Like, that mindset is it's great. It really is great. Again, the zero step, I don't love that. Big step from the inside, not as big as last time. His feet don't necessarily cross as badly. Right hand onto the shoulder pad, extend, torque him outside, literally throws him to the ground. The guy's like sliding across the turf and then finishes him. He destroys guys when they're on the ground. I love that. Now, there might be a scenario or two that I'll bring up in the future where he needs to look for extra blocks instead of doing that. Pass set, again, and I'll bring up the negatives too, but good play. Drag hand right there. You want that drag hand out. Good base, good balance, not too big of steps. You don't see him, like, I brought up with Andrew Thomas, which some people now like just are saying Andrew Thomas he's the best pass setter of all of these guys at the draft, which is crazy because he doesn't have the feet. Like, Thomas, you see his helmet bouncing. When you have smooth, even steps and you have that natural, like, fluidity, you don't see the helmet bouncing. You don't see Becton's helmet bouncing right here. It's at a pretty even plane. Choppy steps, good feet. Again, for a guy of his size moving the way he does, it's rare. Like he moves like a guy who's 320 pounds. Drag hands out. Guy comes into the contact window. Now he might. I would. The only thing I would say here is, he does reach a little bit for contact. Again, it's not too dramatic, but if that guy is able to land that chop right there, it might be a little bit different of an outcome. It's just a little criticism, and you can see how high the hands are. You want the hands ideally lower. Again, it's harder for a guy his size, but it's something he has to think about rep by rep. But still, good timing of the punch. He frames him pretty well. He's not too far outside. He's not too far inside. He's not too. He doesn't drop too deep, So good play. Pushes him away, re-engages, and completely shuts down the rush. Definitely a good job right there. All right, next play. I was reading something. Next play. Becton tosses edge. I have a feeling we're going to see some pretty similar footwork. Yeah. So it looks like they're running like another lead outside zone. Again, with the footwork, I don't love that big zero step. Covers a little. It doesn't even cover any ground. Let's see. maybe not even, maybe 6 inches, maybe a foot. So then you see how his feet start crossing right here. I don't love that. I want to see more even steps from the inside and the outside. But uses his length, gets his hands inside, right hand under, extends, torques them, circular force. Again, there's a couple of forces. You have push, pull, lift, and torque, or circular force. Tosses the guy outside. Oh, I remember the negative of this play. Okay, so he tosses the guy outside to his ass. Love it. Great. Could fix his feet a little bit? Sure. The guy slows up on his ass. My thing is here, look for another block. You see, he kind of watches that guy. He doesn't really do anything with the rest of the play. Ideally, throws this guy to the ground. You see he's finished. Now find another block. You know, at this point, if he tosses this guy, now if he scans, he sees this guy outside, he sees this guy scraping over the top with nobody blocking him, turn back and drop your freaking shoulder into this guy and throw him on his ass too. So now you have 2 pancakes, and now your running back can cut through this hole. See what I'm saying? So he gets distracted right here by doing that. So he needs to flash his eyes inside, pick up this guy. Now the running back might have a touchdown run of 60-something yards. So that's the negative of that play to me. I want to see him look for a block right there instead of being focused on the guy just threw to the ground. Some situations, sure, finish a guy. In that situation, don't. Pass set, again, just wanted to highlight these. This is the main reason for the show, the main reason me trying to find the film on him. The all 22 angles not a lot of people have is to look at his pass sets, because that was his big question. Again, short, choppy steps. His helmet's not bouncing too much. It is bouncing a little bit, but not too much. Short, choppy steps. He frames the rusher pretty well. He's not too far inside. He's not too far outside. Maybe he opens up his hips a little bit too early right here. It's not anything bad. It's not anything that's too bad though. The guy's really far outside, so for him to cross his face quickly, it's going to be pretty hard. So a little bit more leniency when the guy's that far outside. But I would watch it. Drops his hips. Works off of his insteps. Again, the insteps right here, the midpoint of the foot. That's where you're going to generate your most power. You're working against the natural lever points. You don't want to be taking on a block with your toes straight at them, because your knees act as that natural lever point. They want to bend. They're designed to bend. In this situation, bending isn't as strong. So works off the insteps. Double shoot hands inside. And extends. The rush is shut down now. And I'm going to play it in full speed. I said all that stuff. I like the mirroring ability after, like I said, good balance, good shot. His movement's pretty good, for sure. Just for a regular guy, not even considering how big he is. So if you pair his size plus his movement ability plus, let's just say he has decent technique. If he ends up having overall decent technique, he's a pro ball tackle. Now, if he has good technique to great technique, he's an all-pro player. That's how high this guy's ceiling is. So I think with decent technique, he's a pro baller. He definitely has some things to work on, but I'm definitely higher on him watching more of these angles of pass sets than I was, before I did not have them. He might have been my second guy if I watched this. Andrew Thomas was my fourth. Becton was my fourth. Thomas was my third. Wirf was my second. Becton was third for the Jets. I thought Andrew Thomas would be the worst fit for the Jets, but fit for the Jets, I think he might be the second best player. I still like Wills the most, but I really do like Becton. Okay. Combo block to the second level with the guard, obviously, on this play. So I like the eyes right here. Yeah, the eyes and the movement right here is really, really good. Becton coming down on a combo block trying to move you, good luck. Like, really good luck. So right hand inside, drives him. The eyes are on the second level. Second level. Really good timing to peel off of that. I really, really like this play from Becton. Obviously, when he gets his hands on you and he's going to start driving through his legs and activating his full power, you're moving. You're just going to move. There's just really no way. Unless you pop him in the chest, he doesn't have hands on. That's the only way you're going to stop him. But in that situation, he's not going to. Doesn't overcommit. He's attacking half of the man. Good timing. Pops this guy right in the chest. Literally lifts him off his feet. Literally. Again, the guy is in the air right now. He's in the air. He's not hopping back. He's lifted up off of his feet. 200 and some pound guy. Becton just absolutely destroys him. Upright in full speed. Good hand placement. Not overcommitting. Good eyes. Good timing coming off. Pops the guy on the chest. Extends and continues to run him down. Fantastic. That is a fantastic play. On that, I think that's a veer. I didn't watch the rest of the whole thing or what I labeled it, but it looked like a veer. Oh, I'm not maximizing anymore. There you go, maximizing. That should be a good test right there. See if it was the video quality wasn't as good when I didn't maximize the screen. Okay, yes, I remember this play. This is where I talk about some of the stunts. So Virginia just runs. They're just running this TE stunt, and they're setting an extra blitzer on a like delayed blitz after the fact. So I like the blitz pickup. You know, again, good pass set. He sees the guy looping inside, looks inside, gets his hand on, takes over that block with the left guard. Great, but at this point, his eyes have to continue to scan. This guy is obviously going to run right by him. His eyes don't see it. He's looking inside. His eyes stay inside. He doesn't really ever look outside. The guy runs right by him. Well, he notices too late right here. And the guy runs right by him, and he is able to get the hit on the quarterback. Looks like it's probably incompletion, but it went out of bounds anyway, obviously. So good stunt pickup, but his eyes need to continue to scan. And that's something he didn't see a ton of because he wasn't playing in an offense that took a lot of true pass sets. So he's going to see even more exotic blitzes in the NFL. So he needs more active eyes on this play. Next play. Takes block out of screen. All right. Again, it's pretty similar to the other plays I was showing. Don't love that first step. Hands inside. Again, good hand placement, good power, good core strength, a lot of good timing. Just want to see the feet change a little bit. Again, you don't want your feet crossing right there in that contact window. That's my criticism on that play. Still ends up being a good play. Gets under him, throws the guy out. Literally, again, lifting another guy pretty much off of his feet, throwing him outside, and he's not going to stop there. He's going to run you down, and he's going to get hands on again. People don't want any part of it. You see, he literally takes the block. He starts the block at the let's just call it the hash and give the guy an extra yard. Throws him all the way outside. And he probably runs him close to the sideline right there. So that's what you want to see for sure. Let's see. Okay, play 18. Uncontrolled to second level. All right. So he's gonna block. I don't know. Let's see what this play is. Looks like another lead zone. They run a lot of zone there, which is good. If you want to call it a lead zone, you want to call it a boss zone because he's blocking the safety. Call it whatever you want. So he's moving to the second level because this guy knifes inside. If this guy was to knife into the B gap or even try to get outside of him, he's gonna block that guy. But because he goes inside, he's in a zone step, and if that guy's in his zone, take him. If he's not, then go to the second level. So he goes to the second level. I want more control right here though from Becton. You know the angle of the running back is going to be outside. You know that this linebacker, if he's aggressive, is going to try to undercut you, which he does. So you want more square hips. You want to see him come and be more square and be able to play the inside or the outside. He's really only playing the outside right there with the angle he's taking. The guy is able to shoot under him and makes a tackle on the running back for, I think it's a loss of yards. So he needs to climb with more control right here with his hips more square to that guy. Undercuts him and like I said, makes that tackle. So next play, pass set. Again, wanted to highlight them. It's probably going to be pretty similar. Quick pass set. Again, good even steps, good base, good balance. He's pretty wide, which is good. He's pretty low. You can see that he's pretty low on this play. I like that. He doesn't get out too far. His eyes, and the good thing about this play is too are his eyes. His eyes are fixated on the edge right there. He sees him drop back, peel technique. Eyes flash inside immediately. See a quick flash inside. Matches him, frames him well, splitting him. Gets low. Look how low he is into this block for as big as he is. Pretty good. And he lifts him up. Again, nice pass set. It was a quick pass set, but a good one. Another pass set. This again, was it going to be the emphasis? Okay, so I'm seeing one issue on that play. To me, he opens up a little bit too early right here. You see this blocking position? Do you see how you see this is what you say like the upper body and lower body are disconnected? He's on a line right here. His body's all twisted because he opens up a little bit too soon, and the guy tries to go speed to power on him. I'm fine with the feet, but don't open up right here when you're punching. Just get to your set point, throw this outside arm right into his chest, come underneath with that right foot, and just drive him outside. So he opens up a little bit too soon right there with that punch. I just want to see that left shoot into there. Now he is able, I'm going to assume he's available to anchor down. Yeah, so he is able to anchor down. But again, if this is the NFL at the end, he's almost onto the quarterback's lap. So I like that, once he's in a compromised position, he knows to hop his feet back, drop his hips. You can see how far his body drops right here. He's high. He's a little bit high into this block, drops his hips, and lifts the guy up. You don't want to go force against force, push against push. You want to go lift against, or you want to lift against push. Yeah, you want to lift push to deflect force instead of going force against force. So I like that he starts to lift right there, but he was onto his quarterback's lap a little bit. Good recovery, though. All right. Coming to the final 10. This is another pass set. All right. Again, overall, pretty good. If you watch again, once they engage or after they engage, I like the movement skills after to mirror him for sure. Like, look, that's pretty good movement from a guy his size. Or actually, let me retract that. That's really good movement from a guy his size. Good base, choppy steps, stays pretty square. Yeah, he stays pretty square. He might open his hips up a little bit, but that's a small gap for anybody to get through. So I'm not going to really criticize that. I just wanted to mention it. My issue here is the reach. And when you reach like this, what happens is, you tend to lose power because when you're reaching, you don't have your full body. Again, with anything, try if you want to hit something, you want to hit it close. That's like uppercuts are so effective and so powerful because it's so condensed. Holding something, again, hold milk out like this, or if you're, whatever, hold that with one arm, or try to hold that with one arm tight to your body. You're gonna be able to hold it with one arm tight to your body. So you don't want to reach. You're losing power, and it also telegraphs it a little bit, so it's not as powerful, and it's telegraphed. You can see how the hands flash right there. Defensive linemen in the NFL are going to see those telegraphed hands, and they're going to chop them down, especially shooting two hands that far. Two-hand shots, you got to be really careful with them. Two-hand shots, you want in tight, confined spaces. You don't really want it reaching with two hands, specifically. You don't want to reach it regardless, but especially with two hands. So he's not able to fully defeat the hands because the right hand still lands onto the shoulder. You see it deliver some pop right there, that pop. So watch the reach, but and you can see he's a little bit off balance. His weight are on his toes right here. Now he is able to recover, but again, just an area for improvement. Overall, positive play though. Good feet, again, good base. He does reach, but he's not too far off balance. He's a little bit off balance. Good mirroring ability after. He frames the guy well. There's a lot of good in his pass sets. So he needs more experience for sure. He needs to learn to alternate punches. He needs to change up his punch. He needs to learn to recognize stunts and blitzes better, to scan his eyes, to do a ton of things, just like in the run game. More running through contact, running through his hands, control the second level. There's things he needs to work on, but I'm not crazy concerned about his pass sets. I'm really not. Needs reps. Okay, so this is another rep where I think he needs improvement, which is fine. I want to see him cover a little bit more ground with that first step for sure. That drive, catch, kick, slide. Pretty square. He might open up a little bit too soon for me right here. I want to see him stay more square to line of scrimmage. You could see he's kind of even with this guy where you really want that outside foot splitting him. So he opens up a little bit too soon for me. And again, no, he doesn't really reach for contact too bad. Maybe a little. He's on his toes a little bit. Nothing crazy. Gets hands on. I like that. Okay, we're fine at this point. Could improve a little bit, sure, but he at the end of the day is his hands on. He's matching the guy. My thing is, with this, you like to see the hands shoot a little bit lower. One, you can see the hands are on almost the top of the shoulder pads again, which is not going to generate a lot of power. And two, at this point, okay, listen, you're in front of the guy. The guy has your chest though. So when a guy has your chest, you want to defeat those arms. So at this point, this arm is extended. There's a lot of power into that arm. Take that right arm and chop that. Now he's going to be into you, catch him, and now you're tight. So he blocks the guy, obviously, but again, just some areas of improvement that I'm pointing out. Overall, still a positive play. 23 stunt pickup. All right. Yeah, good job. All right. So let's see. Break this down a little bit more frame by frame. Gets outside into his whether it's going to be a 45 or vertical. He sees the T stunt coming. You can see as soon as that guy loops inside, now Becton's eyes flash inside. He sees the nose tackle, defensive tackle, picks him up, right hand into the chest, pretty low. Again, look at him into this block. He's lower than the D tackle. Which the D tackle he's looping, or no, sorry, he a lot of movement, so he's not going to be as low. But still, for a guy who's 6'7" to be lower than anybody in any situation, it's pretty good. A good thing. So he gets low, throws that anchor foot back right here, hands inside, and he lifts up. Now, because of his angle, the D tackles are trying to work to the outside of him to the quarterback. I like that he resets his hand right here, the right hand, because if his left hand is looks like it's inside, I'm not sure if the right hand's outside or where it is, but he needs to reset that hand as this guy works outside, because you don't want to just keep that hand in there and then push him, then you're off balance. So you want to reset your hands, reset your feet. So you see how he resets his hand. Now he's the guy tight into him, and he's not really going to go anywhere. Obviously, the quarterback scrambles, so he's not able to stay with the block the whole time. But overall, still good. Our pass set. All right, we got 6 plays left. Okay, we're talking about vertical sets here. Even base. Throws out the drag hand. It looks like his hand's out there. He doesn't get too far outside. He stays pretty tight. That with discipline to the left guard. You have again, you're sliding. They're sliding in their gap protection. Island. He's in a fill or release, check and release, whatever it may be. It looks like he's just filling that B gap as they slide away, which is fine. Frames a rusher well. Comes into the contact window. He gets low, and when he has hands inside like that and he's that low, look how low he is for how big he is. This is good. I'm good with this. Now he might be a little bit top heavy right here and leaning, but he's leaning into he has contact, so it's okay. And when you're hopping back your anchor, that's gonna be the scenario. So hops back into his anchor, hand inside, and you're not going anywhere. He literally, again, you see he lifts the guy off his feet again. Throws him outside. So good punch timing, good hop back right there to drop your hips, to drop your anchor, and just lifts the guy up out of the air and completely shuts down the rush. Positives for sure. 25. Good feet reach a little. All right, so that's a tendency that we're seeing. Again, pretty smooth, even steps. His helmet's not popping up and down. Look how even that helmet is. That's good. Good feet, good smooth feet, good steps, good balance. Guy comes into the contact window again. Do you see that he's reaching a little bit too much? Yes, he is reaching a little bit too much right here. Just a little bit. It's not drastic. If this guy would defeat the arms, I don't think Becton falls down. I think he loses balance, but is able to recover. So you want to see that fix up a little bit. Get back, run your feet, and then let him run into you. You don't want to necessarily reach for contact. And you see the hand is high. Look at the left hand. You see how it goes on the face mask. You don't want to get called for hands to the face right there. He's able to push the guy back and shut down the rush, but he does reach a little, and his hands are a little bit too high. So good with the feet. Reaches a little bit again, and the hand placement's a little bit too high. 5 plays left. Push up arc. Again, pretty similar with the feet. I'm not going to really have to, I don't want to hammer home every time. This is a little bit less smooth than it was last time. This is a little bit more helmet popping up and down. This is because the guy's on the outside and really speed rushing. So, but he's staying pretty square. He opens his hips as the guy runs past him, gets even. You don't want to continue to stay square and the guy's running by you. So as that guy gets to your plane, you can flip your hips. So he flips his hips as he runs by him, gets his left hand onto inside shoulder, right hand into the back of the shoulder, and just pushes him up the arc and past the quarterback. Starting full speed. Again, helmet popping up a little bit, but overall good. He frames him well, gets his hands on, pushes him up the arc. That's his job. He does his job. Good play. Length pass set. All right, like I said, people want to see pass sets. I gave you pass sets. Similar with the feet. He's framing the guy pretty well. Again, he's not too far outside. He didn't really flip. He opens his hips up a little bit, but this outside leg is really, it's pretty much splitting him. The wide rusher flips as the guy starts to come even to his plane, which I'm fine with. Drops his hips a little bit, throws his feet back to work off his insteps, gets his hands in again a little bit high, but he's able to get hands on and then continue to push him up the arc and match him. Length square. This is more of like there's obviously you have the jump sets, the 45-degree sets, they're vertical sets. There's a bunch of different sets. This is like a combination of a vertical and a 45-degree. I'd call it a 45-degree if I had to label it one. So it takes that 45-degree set, which is a more aggressive set. Again, outside leg is splitting this guy, framing him well. He's square, good balance, good feet. Shoots his hand again a little high. It looks like it lands to the face mask. You want to see that really take the V of the neck, or really even to the outside pec right here. So hand placement can improve a little bit right there, but he uses his length, and gets hands on. Again, works off the insteps. Has good base right here, working on opposite directions. Again, you want to see the thighs ideally working at the opposite direction, acting as a shock absorber. And with even angles from or opposite angles of your knee to your hip and your back of your heel to your knee, with your body ideally at the same plane of your shin. So pretty good. He's pretty linear there, which is good. Shuts down the rush. 2 more plays. 2 good plays. I remember these 2 chops at the end. I remember. Oh, I haven't been maximizing the screen again. I don't get used to that. We'll do it for last 2. Again, vertical set. He jumps out a little bit. This is what he's gonna get better at once he starts getting more pass sets and things like that. He's gonna get even better at this stuff. So I'm not sure if it's film study or if he sees that arm coming out, or a combination of both, whatever it may be. Again, pretty good feet. He's square to the guy. He's splitting him. He sees that arm come out, chop it down. Now he's gonna be off balance. Obviously, if he's trying to long arm him right here, he's gonna be generating a lot of force into that hand. So if you chop that down, now you're gonna fall. It's like try to go push somebody really hard and push an invisible person. So good chop of the hand. He's gonna catch him with the left right there. Now he's tight and he has his hands on. You're not going anywhere. You're done. You're completely done. Like you're just not. Nothing's gonna happen right there. So again, really good job. Last play. And then, like I said, we'll do the Clark show. I'll do the Clark show probably Tuesday. I'm going to start working on Morgan today. Again, the Clark review is up by the time you're watching this on Jets X Factor for the whole thing. Again, with what I do with Jets X Factors, I put up a third, maybe a little bit more than a third of the plays on Twitter. But you're not getting the strengths and weaknesses that I listed. So that's something that I think a lot of people want to see. You can go on NFL.com or wherever else and see their strengths and weaknesses. I don't always agree with those strengths and weaknesses. I do my own. I evaluate my own tape, as you guys can see. So you don't get that. But again, it's $6 a month. That's like a cup. That's like 2 cups of coffee a month for my film, Nania's numbers, Nania's film. Sabo's starting to get into articles and film again. So I think it's worth it. Again, the shirt that you could do all the shirts too. Again, I like. Honestly, I'm not even just saying this. I will say one thing about the shirts. I think the sizes run a little bit small. So if you're a large, I'll probably go extra large. Really good material. They're pretty good shirt. It's good quality for sure. But I'm not sure. I don't really care about pushing the shirts too much. I'm just saying if you want a Becton shirt, go get one. Who cares? Okay, another vertical set. Similar thing as last time. Vertical set, good steps. His helmet's not popping up and down. Good base. Good. His feet aren't clicking or anything like that. He feels that the arm coming. It looks like he's going to do the double swipe and jump into a double swipe, which is like Aaron Donald is famous for, and he sees that coming. Look at that timing of that chop. Chops the arm. He's done. That's really, really good right there. Really, really good timing. Obviously, he's putting a lot of the DN, the outside linebacker edge, Emal is putting a lot of power into that swipe. And he's leaning into it. Now it's not there. He's going to be off balance. And Becton just takes him to the ground and literally just jumps on top of him. He's done. Completely shut it down. You're not going anywhere with 360 pounds on your back. You're just not. So, I think this stuff develops more as he starts to do it. You're going to see more alternating punches. You're going to see, left hand punches, right hand punches, which the right inside punches to be really careful with punching that hand first. You're locking your hips a little bit outside. So if they're trying to beat you across your face, you got to be careful. But alternating punches, want to see it. Different altered punch timing. I want to see it. I want to see more fake punches, circle punches. I want to see that stuff in his game. But we are seeing this type of stuff that he will develop even more. He'll develop his eyes, so this is a vertical set, not a bad one, chopping that guy down and take him to the turf. Really, really good. So I'm excited about Becton. Thank you everybody for listening. Again, it takes a shit ton of work to do these shows. So that's why I don't do one every day or every other day. Obviously, I evaluate the film, break it down, put it on Twitter, do a show about it, do strengths and weaknesses, etc. It takes a lot of work. So again, even if it's not for the free t-shirt, if you appreciate the work I put in, drop a 5-star on the podcast app, or if you do listen to the podcast, like and subscribe on YouTube. Even if you don't go to your YouTube a lot, if you watch on YouTube, which a lot of guys either watch on YouTube or watch on Vimeo, which is people watch on Vimeo is the people who are subscribed. So those numbers don't even count into YouTube. So we appreciate that we're growing, continually growing. And we're getting 1,000 to 2,000 to 3,000 views on a lot of the videos. So, and again, it's not even counting those full-time subscribers. So I appreciate you guys for sure, coming along with the build of this new website, new show. Again, drop a rating if you can, tell your friends. Greatly appreciate it. Once we get to 75 reviews, free t-shirt, free year subscription. If you just drop a 5-star, I don't know who dropped the 5-star. So if you just drop a 5-star, great show, then your name gets into the running for the raffle for the free stuff. So appreciate you guys. I will see you in a couple of days. Check me out on Twitter again, JoeRB31. Email me. Email I said before, I always forget it, Joe.Blewett at Jets X Factor. Just DM me on Twitter or whatever, or tag me. Mailbag show. People who are like tech savvy, just let me know. YouTube, can you have a call in with that? Like, I don't know how that works. So we'll see. Again, I'll see you guys in a couple of days, and thank you for listening. Stay safe too.